So how many Cardano and ADA would it take to become a millionaire? And how do we invert the situation to try and figure out a reasonable answer to this question? To do that, we need to begin with understanding what actually drives improvements in the value of ADA over time, and how that value is likely to mature over the coming years. In my opinion, considering that Cardano operate mainly as a platform for the development of decentralized applications, but also in supply chain management and smart contract development as well, the growth in the value of ADA over the next few years will rely upon how well Cardano can capture market share in those areas. We have to understand that ADA derives its value from producing a staking yield, which is earned by investors when they delegate their ADA to a staking pool. And when an investor stakes their ADA, what they are actually doing is providing transaction validation, the type of transaction validation which holds up the integrity of the Cardano blockchain. And so the more transaction volume that Cardano engages in as a result of greater demand for their services, the more staking rewards there are to go around, meaning that staking yields improve and values increase. And before we get any further in this video, if you're a Cardano fan or an ADA investor, and you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel for that. So anyway, to answer the question, how many ADA are required to become a millionaire, which is of course a subjective question at the end of the day, we need to establish an average expected rate of growth for Cardano as a platform in terms of transaction volume. If Cardano, operating in a fast-growing space as they are, grow at 50% per year and the market value of ADA follows, ADA will be worth approximately $10 within 5 years, and if they can keep up that high level of growth for 10 years, about $70 per unit. Meaning that if the Cardano platform were able to maintain a high growth rate in trade and therefore transaction volume of 50% per year on average for a decade, and the price of ADA were to rise proportionally, we're talking about a gain of over 55 to 1, meaning that an investment of about $17,500 today would be worth roughly $1 million then. Now in all fairness, a growth rate of 50% per year for obvious reasons is hard to get, especially in a low interest rate economic environment with too much liquidity. But in terms of whether it's possible in blockchain, it may very well be. We shouldn't be looking at what blockchain is right now, we should be looking at what it will likely be. And we're talking about revolutionizing every industry from finance to logistics, and the projects which can ride the wave and successfully weather what is bound to be a journey with many ups and downs along the way will likely be equivalent to the Amazons and the Microsofts of the dot-com era. Right now in crypto, we are in my view pre-dot-com boom. There is a lot of promise in the space and a lot of good projects as well, but also a lot of projects which aren't viable long term. And what happened during the dot-com era was that when the crash came and the tide went out, all of the companies which weren't independently viable and had no real chances of long-term survival were driven out of business, and the market share which they did have was absorbed by the survivors. And if we look at Amazon, Apple, Microsoft and these types of companies, they all managed to maintain extraordinarily high rates of growth for long periods of time, because they were sitting on a rising tide and a rapidly growing industry. And for me the same thing is happening in blockchain today. Now there are no guarantees that Cardano or any other project or company in the world will survive, and there is always a risk involved with owning any asset. My personal opinion is that Cardano will likely maintain a high rate of growth into the future. As the industry grows, it will naturally capture market share, but that's just my opinion. And other people may well disagree with that appraisal and think that the future rate of growth for Cardano will be higher or maybe lower as well. After all, the space is highly volatile and there are a wide range of opinions on crypto, but then again that is one of the things which makes the space so particularly lucrative as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.